This is Argentina. 100 years ago, it was one of the wealthiest places on the planet, and a country so economically powerful and advanced that it was widely expected to become an economic rival of the United States. But then something went wrong, and Argentina started a long economic downfall that has been getting worse and worse ever since. Its past 100 years is a tale of 9 bankruptcies, hyperinflation, and constant economic crisis. And today, Argentina is coming close to the edge of an economic collapse once again. But how does a country go from an economic giant to a laughingstock? Why is it stuck in a never-ending crisis, and can it ever get out? This is Argentina's fall from grace.
Argentina is a country in South America known for its natural resources, agriculture, and rich culture. It was once one of the richest countries in the world. The economy is based on farming, manufacturing, and services. Argentina exports soybeans, wheat, and beef. However, the country has faced many economic problems like inflation, unemployment, and financial crisis. High inflation has caused lower wages, more poverty, and job losses. Even though inflation slowed down in 2024, prices and unemployment are still big problems.
Good evening. This is breaking news from Argentina. Tonight, we report on a crisis that has rocked the nation: inflation. In 2023, inflation in Argentina reached a shocking 211.4%. Food, fuel, and basic needs became unaffordable. But how did this happen? Let's go live to our reporter on the ground in Buenos Aires. Thank you, Shaza. I'm here at a market in Buenos Aires where prices are rising faster than people income. I have spoken to locals who say they can no longer afford basic goods. Let's hear from one of them. Okay, let's hear from her. Last year, I could buy meat for 1,000 pesos. Now it costs over 5,000. My salary hasn't changed, but everything else has. My children are hungry. My saving worthless. What kind of life is this? You heard it yourself. This crisis is affecting every corner of daily life.
Children start arriving at this community center for lunch early in the morning, even though it won't be served till midday. All the food served here comes from donations.
I know what it's like to go to bed hungry, so now that I'm on my feet, I volunteer here. It feels good to help and to see someone with a plate of food smile.
But the meals being served are not enough to meet the growing demand in this neighborhood, where the number of people seeking food assistance is doubling every week.
4 months ago, they only served children here. Now it's entire families that have to come here for a plate of food. And because of Argentina's soaring inflation, donors can't afford to give as much as they used to, which means the soup kitchen often has nothing to give. And that means that many of the people here have to go for a full day with nothing to eat.
The latest overall inflation figure for last month was 20.6%. Soup Kitchen Director Santiago Figueroa says food prices were the most critical.
We used to pay 80 cents for a kilo of rice. Now it's triple, more than $3.
But others see the latest inflation figure as a glass half full.
What matters is the tendency. Inflation is down 5% compared to December, and while February may not be an improvement, by April it's expected to drop 8%. And that's because the government is not printing any more money to finance the fiscal deficit.
It's a textbook belt-tightening measure that's hitting the middle income and poor families the hardest.
I am an unemployed teacher. If I don't come to this soup kitchen, I don't eat.
My pension isn't enough to put food on the table.
The lucky ones who came early got a plateful. But for many others, this huge pot wasn't enough. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
Citizens of Argentina, I am inflation and I have returned stronger than ever. Each time of your governments overspends and prints more money, I grow more powerful. Your currency is lose value. Your savings, they shrink. Your economy, it suffers.
What in the world? That was inflation? Minute answer. Back to you, Shaza. Unbelievable scenes on the ground. But how did inflation become this monster? Joining us now is economist Christina to explain the first cause, demand pull inflation. Thank you, Shaza. What we saw in Argentina is a classic example of demand pull inflation. After the pandemic, the government spent heavily to support the economy. People also began spending more, but the country's production couldn't keep up. So when the demand goes up, but supply stays low, price rise. That's what happened from 2018 to 2023. In 2023 alone, inflation hit 211.4%. That's not just inflation, it's hyperinflation. Economist Sarah, who will explain other key causes.
Yes, another major factor was cost-push inflation. Argentina imports many goods when the peso weakened and global prices rose, where everything became more expensive. These include food, and transportation. Businesses had to raise their prices to survive. And then we have to monetary inflation. The government printed too much money to cover spending, more money, same amount of goods, and this caused the peso's value to collapse. From 2021 to 2023, inflation exploded. That's the danger of unchecked money supply growth.
Inflation hits everyone, but the greatest impact is felt by workers, especially those on lower wages. All of Argentina's main trade unions, representing teachers, construction and health workers, truck drivers and civil servants, marched on Congress to support the government and to demand restraint from the businesses that set prices.
One of the main problems is the hyperinflation we have been experiencing for some time now. We are against paying the International Monetary Fund, which is reflected in the lack of jobs. There are no jobs, wages are not enough, permanent price increases. That's why Argentine workers are on the streets today.
Inflation in Argentina in July hit 7.4%. It's projected to reach around 100% for the year. Inflation is an indicator of a weak economy. Argentina's is a victim of crippling foreign debt. And like the rest of the world, the pandemic and the rising cost of fuel and flour caused by the war in Ukraine. These marchers behind me are from the province of Chaco in the far north of Argentina. They've come from all over the country because inflation hits workers the hardest, seeing the value of their wages diminishing week by week, month by month. The government on Tuesday cut subsidies for household fuel and water bills, saying it would refocus on those most in need. However, with prices rising weekly, those needs are growing. The latest official figures show more than 1/3 of Argentines living in poverty.
We are suffering from inflation and the peso has collapsed against the dollar, so it's tough, but we have got work. We are not protesting. We just want the government to see what we need.
The workers are supporting the government in its right to make things better. We're not asking them for anything, we're supporting them.
Others are running out of patience with a government under pressure to find solutions to a problem that has blighted Argentina.
I have tracked down the force behind Argentina's economic crisis, inflation. The people deserve an explanation.
I am not the cause, I'm the effect, a result of unchecked government spending, uncontrolled money supply, and economic mismanagement. Your leaders ignore the warning signs. They subsidize beyond their means, printed currency without control, and fail to manage debt. In such an environment, I thrive. If you wish to stop me, you must strengthen your policies, restore fiscal discipline, and rebuild trust in your economy.
Well, there you have it. Even inflation has spoken clearly. Argentina's inflation crisis is not caused by one factor, but by many rising demand, supply chain problems, and poor monetary policy. Recovery requires reform, strong leadership, and better financial control.
We have seen how demand pull inflation started the fire and how cost push and money printing made it worse. It's not just a number, it affects real people like me.
Even I admit I am too powerful when the policy is weak.
And it's time to act before things get worse. We are Group 5 and this is our creative presentation for Echo 211. From 2050 to 2024, Argentina went through a serious inflation crisis. The inflation rate rose sharply from 26.9% in 2015 to a peak of 211.4% in 2023. Although it dropped to 117.8% in 2024, it is still very high. This inflation problem was caused by several factors, including poor financial management, high government spending, the COVID-19 pandemic, and global issues like the war in Ukraine. Although there has been some progress in 2024, Argentina still faces high production costs and a lack of public trust. Government reforms, lower global price, and better supply chain have helped a little, but more action are needed to fix the economy and avoid future inflation problems.